Next, there really is a restaurant that is celebrating Celtic cuisine, and you'll find this extraordinary menu at the Galway Arms, where Chef Wade Fortin has fused the old world traditions with contemporary flair.
This is a work of art by Guinness, as we know.
Yes, it is. This is Terry Gagan here, and he was bored with his day job, so he said, you know, I want to spend some money in the restaurant business, and I want to... go ahead.
I just want to give it back to the government.
That's good.
Tax money. I don't give them enough during the regular course of work. But anyway, David, we poured this here, and we have to let it settle, unlike the regular beer that you can just pour straight. Guinness has to settle and basically turn dark before we finish it off.
Now, if you thought he wasn't speaking well, it's a little bit of an accent. But talk about Celtic cuisines, and we'll talk to your chef a little bit later, but what are you doing here?
Well, essentially what we're trying to do was to change the perception of Irish food and Celtic food, as it were.
You mean this isn't a pub? It's not a bar?
Absolutely.
It's a real restaurant?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think probably some of the best chefs in the world, or in Europe especially, are from Ireland. They've trained in France and Switzerland. And the idea that you cannot get good food in an Irish bar or restaurant is something we try to change the perception that's out there.
Okay.
And I think the Celtic fusion was our idea to meld the cuisines of the various Celtic regions. So we hired Wade Fortin to do this for us, and he consulted with sources there and books and personnel, and he's come up with a menu we're very happy with. So we're going to finish this out for you now. And not that you probably need it, but this will put hair on your chest.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
If there's something that you wanted to say about food in this restaurant before you take off, because he's getting out of here pretty quick, what would you say?
Well, I think the main thing we have learned since we opened last April is that people are surprised. So I would just ask people to keep an open mind, come here, try the food.
They think it's a pub. It's not a pub.
Well, this portion we're in right now looks like a pub, and on the walls you'll see all the crests of the various families that were called the tribes of Galway. There were 14 of them, and they were in place since the 13th century. They were essentially of Anglo-Norman extraction, but I come from Galway City, and we've had a charter for 500 years, a long history, and we've even produced some good food there.
Got any favorites?
Any favorites here? I like the pork chop in particular. I think it's outstanding.
Okay.
All right.
You won't see him here. He's just an investor. He's got a day job. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Okay.
So I said to Mike, tell me about the place, and I don't think anybody could have sold it better. You started off with Sunday brunch, right?
Sunday brunch with steak and eggs Benedict. You just couldn't have a brunch without steak and eggs Benedict with Wade. More importantly, I think when you're looking for a restaurant that's got a diversity of cuisine, and not just week to week, but day to day, Wade is polishing his art every day and serving you something that is just to die for. And more importantly, you can come into this restaurant. You could eat in a formal environment, or you can come in here to the bar area, close to the fire, which is a lot cozier, more romantic, and have a phenomenal meal. And that's why we're here.
So you told me that you live just down the block here?
We're in the neighborhood, and we frequent this place not because it's closed, but because the food is phenomenal, the service is phenomenal, and they care for their patrons.
I've said that every time I've read a review of this place from anybody else, they talk about how it's a great pub. It's a pub. It's a pub. And they never get past the first floor. And unfortunately, we're here on a Thursday and it's closed upstairs. It's this great dining room upstairs. And you've got all this wonderful food coming out.
And absolutely. And it's if you're looking for that formal dining room, it's upstairs. But for us, we enjoy hanging out where the atmosphere is a lot cozier from our perspective, because you've got a fireplace, you've got a bar environment, and the service is just incredible.
So thanks, and I'm glad you shared with me. Okay, hey, well, we've heard a little bit about this place from the guy that put all the money up, but let's talk about the guy that makes it happen, Wade Fortin. And Chef Wade, give me an example of Celtic cuisine. Let's start with maybe this dish you got here.
This is a Scottish meat pie dish. It's called a farfabrady. Usually in Scotland, what they'll take is they'll take leftovers and they'll just throw it into like a simple pastry crust and make a, just a simple pie. And what I've done is I took in like a kind of a gourmet French ingredient like duck confit and mushroom duxelle, and then I've wrapped it in phyllo pastry.
Okay.
To make it a little more upscale, more 21st century.
What were a couple of the other items you were talking about tonight?
I have a Jameson glazed pork chop, which is basically a giant pork chop. It's about 10 to 14 ounces, depending on what.
Want to make one for me?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Go ahead.
So what we got here is some cabbage and some bacon. And it's going to be part of our Scottish colcannon, which is the potato dish. It's going to complete the dish. I just pulled this pork chop right off the grill. It's cooked to about medium well. I'm going to set that right there. Just going to grab a scoop of mashed potatoes here. Mix it up a little bit. It's going to go right in here. Then we'll just set the pork chop on top. This is a Jameson whiskey glaze. It's a demi-glace. It's made with veal stock, Jameson, shallots, and rosemary. All I do is top it with, these are leeks that I've thinly chopped or julienned, deep fried for a couple seconds, a little bit of parsley for color, and that's the pork chop.
Okay, give me an example of something else. What do you got for me? If you got time. You got time?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay, what are you going to make for me?
So I got a pan-seared Atlantic salmon. It's farm-raised, and then I crusted it with sweet potatoes. I took a mandolin and thinly sliced them. There's a little bit of tarragon on top. This is an eggplant ratatouille. It's got a little bit more eggplant than the other vegetables. That's why it's a little bit dark in color. It's also made with yellow squash, zucchini, red pepper, and red onion, and Italian herbs like oregano, basil, thyme. Put it in the center of the plate. And we'll take the salmon here, lay it right on top. And this is a roasted garlic butter sauce, typical beurre blanc.
So again, you're mixing some French recipes and ingredients with some of the typical Celtic foods.
Right.
Got one more for me?
I got a little crab cake dish.
All right, go ahead. I see it racking over there. Tell me what you got.
Basically, this is a fresh smoked crab cake mix. It's got red peppers, it's got lemon, it's got parsley, a little bit of chives.
Give me the Celtic twist.
These are potato gaufrettes. They're French-style potato chips cut into waffle shapes. And basically, potatoes are such a staple in the Irish diet that they work well with an accompaniment garnish. This is a roasted corn salsa. Stick the potatoes in as so.
Tell me what you got there.
That's a roasted red pepper aioli. Basically, it's a roasted red pepper mayonnaise.
There you go.
That's
Hey,
it.
Chef.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, hey, the food's been sitting out here, and I've really got to eat it. Terry, just before we go, what was that expression about your Irish coffee?
Yeah, David, we've started to promote Irish coffee in particular here, and the way we describe it is the coffee is as black as Cromwell's heart, the whiskey is as smooth as a maiden's touch, and the cream is as white as the winter snow.
Well, you probably won't see Terry when you come in here, and it's getting a little raucous in here. So, Peter, give me who's the manager. Say hi. It looks like an Irish boy just came off the boat.
Oh, thank you.
He'll wear stays and he'll dress up. Give me your hours. Let him know when you're open.
We're open for dinner 7 nights a week, breakfast and lunch on the weekends, 10 o'clock in the morning.
And just give him a hard time. Just if he doesn't have a tie on, just
I'm well able for a David. Send it on in.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers. Sláinte.